Hey everybody, this is Joe Gilder from HomeStudioCorner.com, and I want to talk to you today a little bit about mixing. I got this email from Luca in Slovenia, and it says, I really like your page and what you're doing. I would suggest that you do a video about mix philosophy, about dimensions and perception. This is really the start of music production, and most of the people involved have problems there. Well, Luca, thanks for the question. That's a really good thought. To think through a mixing philosophy. Now, I don't have a set written philosophy when I mix, but I do have some things that I do with every mix that I think kind of tie into what you're asking. So I've got 3 tips for you today. The first is don't mix too loud. This is kind of a given, but when you're mixing in Pro Tools or whatever DAW that you use, if you start with your levels too hot on the mixer, and they're all around 0 or even higher, once you combine all your tracks together, you're inevitably going to clip your master output or clip your individual tracks. And that's obviously not a good thing. And what will happen, instead of spending time focusing on the tone of your mix and the balance and the spatial, the way it's spread out with your spatial effects and things like that, instead of focusing on those, you're going to be focusing on, well, shoot, my mix just clipped again, I've got to go pull the levels down. So rather than battling clipping and hot levels, turn everything down. Start your mix a good bit lower than you would, and just turn up the monitor or the volume on your monitors or your headphones. So if you can't hear anything, rather than pushing up the fader, just turn up the volume on your headphones, and you'll find that you'll spend less time worrying about clipping and more time listening to the music. The second tip I have is use a reference track. I wrote an article about this just the other day, but you don't want to be an island. If your mix sounds good to you in your studio, that's great, but if it's completely off when you compare it to another mix in the same genre, a popular mix, something that's been actually successful in the market, then what good is it? So while you may think your mix sounds professional, actually compare it to a professional mix in your room, in your environment, with your monitors and headphones, and see how it compares. If it doesn't sound the same or doesn't even sound close, you need to make some adjustments. Third thing I have is have a plan. If you go into mixing a song and you don't have a goal or something that you envision in your mind of how you want it to sound, you're really going to be lost. You'll be sitting there making EQ changes, adding reverbs, adding compression with no real end in sight. So you need to have a goal. If you're mixing for a specific genre, think about how you want it to sound at the end. Imagine what the finished, mastered CD would sound like in your car, in your studio, in your iPod earbuds, and imagine what that sound is, and then go from there. If you just go blindly into it and don't really have any idea of how you want it to sound, it's going to show in your mixes. So those are 3 mixing tips today. I think that last one really ties into a mixing philosophy of having a plan, and using a reference track is one way to handle that, because you can see what a finished product sounds like, and then you can flip back over and listen to yours. So, again, I'm Joe Gilder from HomeStudioCorner.com, and thanks for watching.